Unit 7. Using Cascading Style Sheet. Part 2. It's an amazing day. Nice to meet you. I'm very much delighted. In this video, we are going to talk about CSS Colors, CSS Background, CSS Borders, CSS Margins, CSS Paddings, CSS Width and Height. Let's get started. CSS Colors. Colors are specified using predefined color names, or RGB, hex, HSL, RGBA, HSLA values. In CSS, a color can be specified by using a predefined color name such as red, green, blue, orange, and more. CSS HTML support 140 standard color names. The following tables enumerate the standard color grouped according to their shades. This is the list of standard names for red colors, orange colors, yellow colors, green colors, cyan colors, blue colors, purple colors, pink colors, white colors, gray colors, and brown colors. The table displays the corresponding color, the CSS HTML color name, hex code, and decimal code using the RGB method. CSS RGB colors. An RGB color value represents red, green, and blue light sources. In CSS, a color can be specified as an RGB value using this formula: RGB, red, green, blue. Each parameter, red, green, and blue, defines the intensity of the color between 0 and 255. For example, RGB 255, 0, 0 is displayed as red because red is set to its highest value, 255, and the others are set to 0. To display black, set all color parameters to 0, like this: RGB 0, 0, 0. To display white, set all color parameters to 255, like this: RGB 255, 255, 255. CSS hex colors. A hexadecimal color is specified with #RR, GG, BB, where the RR for red, GG for green, and BB blue. Hexadecimal integers specify the components of the color. Hexadecimal values are between 00 and FF, same as decimal 0 to 255. For example, #FF 0000 is displayed as red because red is set to its highest value, FF, and the others are set to the lowest value, 00. For white color we will use the value # followed by 6F and # followed by 6 zeros for color black. CSS HSL colors. HSL stands for hue, saturation, and lightness. Hue is a degree on the color wheel from 0 to 360. 0 is red, 120 is green, and 240 is blue. Saturation is a percentage value, 0% means a shade of gray, and 100% is the full color. Lightness is also a percentage, 0% is black, 50% is neither light or dark, 100% is white. Saturation can be described as the intensity of a color. 100% is pure color, no shades of gray. 50% is 50% gray, but you can still see the color. 0% is completely gray, you can no longer see the color. We can change the HTML element's background, the color of the text, and borders color using any of the above stated methods. Let's check this example. Before we start changing the color, let's create a CSS file. In this example, I have created color.css. Then we need to link this external CSS to our HTML file using the head section. We also inserted attribute in each paragraph: para1 for paragraph 1, para2 for paragraph 2, para3 for paragraph 3, and para4 for paragraph 4 so that we can select the paragraph individually. In this example we change the color of the text in the first paragraph using the color name green. We use the RGB method to change the color in the second paragraph. Hexadecimal method to change text color of the third paragraph. and HSL for the last paragraph. Now let's change the background of our paragraphs using the CSS Background color property with the color name Coral. To change the border color, we use the following declarations. CSS Backgrounds. The CSS Background properties are used to add background effects for elements. The following are the CSS Background properties. Let's have this example. To change the background color of an element, we can use the background color property. The background color property specifies the background color of an element, while the background image property specifies an image to use as the background of an element. By default, the image is repeated so it covers the entire element like this. When using a background image, use an image that does not disturb the text. If you want to repeat the image horizontally or vertically, the values of this property can be repeat, repeat X, repeat Y, and no repeat. The background attachment property specifies whether the background image should scroll or be fixed. The background position property is used to control the position of the background image. If two values are specified for the background position property, the first value represents the horizontal position, and the second represents the vertical position. If only one value is specified, the second value is assumed to be center. Besides keywords, you can also use percentage or length values, such as px or m for this property. As you can see in the examples above, there are many properties to consider when dealing with the backgrounds. However, it is also possible to specify all these properties in one single property to shorten the code or avoid extra typing. This is called a shorthand property. When using the background shorthand property, the order of the property value should be color, image, repeat, attachment, and position. CSS Borders. The CSS border properties allow you to specify the style, width, and color of an element's border. The border style property specifies what kind of border to display. The border style property can have from 1 to 4 values for the top border, right border, bottom border, and the left border. The border style property can have the following values: none, hidden, solid, dashed, dotted, double, inset, outset, groove, and ridge. You must specify a border style in order to make the border appear around an element, because the default border style is none. Check this example. The border width property specifies the width of the 4 borders. The width can be set as a specific size, in px, pt, cm, m, etc., or by using one of the 3 predefined values, thin, medium, or thick. The border width property can have from 1 to 4 values for the top border, right border, bottom border, and the left border. The border color property is used to set the color of the 4 borders, like this. To shorten the code, it is also possible to specify all the individual border properties in one property. This is called shorthand property. The border CSS property is a shorthand property for setting one or more of the individual border properties, border width, border style, and border color in a single rule. CSS Margin and CSS Padding. Margins are used to create space around elements, outside of any defined borders. CSS has properties for specifying the margin for each side of an element: margin top, margin right, margin bottom, and margin left. All the margin properties can have the following values: auto, the browser calculates the margin length, specifies a margin in px, pt, cm, etc. % specifies a margin in % of the width of the containing element. Inherit specifies that the margin should be inherited from the parent element. Padding is used to create space around an element's content inside of any defined borders. CSS has properties for specifying the padding for each side of an element: padding top, padding right, padding bottom, and padding left. All the padding properties can have the following values. Length specifies a padding in px, pt, cm, etc. % specifies a padding in % of the width of the containing element. Inherit specifies that the padding should be inherited from the parent element. Both padding and margin have shorthand notation which can take 1, 2, 3, or 4 whitespace separated values. If one value is specified, it is applied to all 4 sides. If 2 values are specified, the first value is applied to the top and bottom side, and the second value is applied to the right and left side of the element's box. If 3 values are specified, the first value is applied to the top, second value is applied to right and left side, and the last value is applied to the bottom. Let's see this example. CSS heights and width. The CSS height and width properties are used to set the height and width of an element. The CSS max width property is used to set the maximum width of an element. The height and width properties do not include padding, borders, or margins. It sets the height width of the area inside the padding, border, and margin of the element. The height and width properties may have the following values. Auto: this is default. The browser calculates the height and width. Length defines the height width in px, cm, etc. % defines the height width in % of the containing block. Initial sets the height width to its default value. Inherit, the height width will be inherited from its parent value. Let's see this example. Good job! You completed this unit. Thank you and see you on our next lesson.